Hey, good morning. This is Lucky Links. When I do the astrological energies of the day, and I talk about the bad moon phase, because someone just made a really good point. They said, "Hey, every time I get up ready to face the day, and I'm ready to do all sorts of positive things, you post something about the bad moon phase and say it's not good for anything positive." This is what I would suggest. We who are in the Tibetan bond path, we look at the astrological energies of the day so that we're aware of what's going on. And we do all of these practices. We do practices 24 hours a day. We do meditation. We work to be in a constant state of managing our minds. When we take a vow, all of us who are Tibetan bond students, we took a vow to manage and tame our minds. And so when we see the energies, we have specific practices that we do to counter those things and to help us work through those things. And we're just very aware of everything that's going on so that we can work to manage our own energy and tame our minds. So if something's going on that's a bad moon phase, so for example, when it's a bad moon phase, I've tended to notice that if I'm not paying attention or not aware, communication can get weird. Like I can get in a situation where people want to fight, or there's miscommunications, or you can send a wrong text to the wrong person, or things like that. And it's also for aggressive and attacking enemies, which some people may want to use it for that. They may feel like someone's been holding them down, holding them back. Maybe there's someone who's been getting in their way, and this is the time to actually work through that and go on the offensive. The bad moon phase lasts for 1/2 of the day. After 5, it changes. So we're aware that energy is going on. It's not that we won't do anything at all, but we have other practices that we do. And like I said, we work to stay in meditation 24 hours a day. We don't just sit on a cushion for 10 minutes. And like when I see people posted, well, I meditated for 10 minutes today. I'm like, do you want a cookie? Do you want a cookie for that? Because seriously, meditation is not something that you do for 10 minutes of the day, while the rest of the day you run, your desires, your anger, your pride, your addictions. It's something that we work all day on, and we'll get up at 3 in the morning. We set our alarms to get up at 3 in the morning and do a specific practices. There's practices we do all around the clock, and especially at this particular time in history where we are, which we are calling Penno, where things are going kind of crazy. We do practices and meditations to help all people awaken and move towards enlightenment. That's what we're really working for, so that everyone awakens and moves towards enlightenment, because we're really working to help in a compassionate way, that whatever a person needs to help them wake up and break the addictions, the binds, the fetters, the limitations they have, it helps break them out of it. And then if they move towards meditation and liberation, enlightenment, then they can engage in practices that they can negotiate these tricky astrological things. So I know that Western astrology kind of likes to take a fatalistic approach, which was one of the problems that I had when I was a kid and I was, first studying Western astrology. It's like, well, this is what's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. In Tibetan Bond, we go, this is what's coming. Be aware of what's happening with everyone around you. You manage your own mind, do your practices, and negotiate these waters in a way that tames your mind and brings you success. I think that that's the difference, and that's the big difference, and that's one of the things that's frustrated me about the difference between Western astrology and what we do in Tibetan cosmology and Tibetan Bond astrology. We're working towards a specific goal. We know our cosmology. We're working towards, we were born with a specific purpose. We do our cosmology. We find out what that purpose is. We extract the practices that we need to do that move us towards that. We find out we were born here. This is where we end up when we find our cosmology, because in an ideal world, if you were a baby, your parents would have your cosmology done, and then they would know how to lead you towards what your destiny was instead of what they wanted your destiny to be. So it's not an ideal world at this point. So those of us who find out, okay, we find out at this, whatever point in our life, we find out, okay, I'm here. This is what I was born to be. I have to bring these two together. So the thing that I always had a problem with and always found very frustrating about stuff that when I started in Western astrology and just working with just tarot, it's like, okay, well, you see it, but what do you do about it? How do you change it? And that's what we do. We're aware of the energies so that we don't do something that we might have to, expel a lot of energy later trying to force. Or we say, okay, well, this might be, okay, so someone's asking us to help them defend themselves against enemy. Today's a good day to do magic for them to help them with that. Or today's an accomplishment today. I'm setting goals for this today, and this is what I'm going to have done by the end of the day. It's a bad moon phase, which means I'm not going to be on social media necessarily talking to people, but you notice that I'm actually posting this video. But we also did a whole lot of meditative practices this morning to offset those other things. And we then in the Sangha do practices together, do mantra and stuff together to help make a bigger effect on the world. Because if you're just practicing or your spiritual practice is just in a vacuum and it just benefits you, what's the point? There's a whole lot of people out there saying we're one. Well, what does your practice do to make you in line with everyone? And not just the people you agree with. Those people who you dislike, those people you hate, those people you have a problem with, those people who politically you think, oh my God, they just need to just fall off the face of the earth. They're here for a reason. And it's very specific. And if you're irritated by them, you should pay attention because that's supposed to teach you something about why you're here. And if you're only hanging out with people who agree with you or who are on the same page as you, or you're only doing spiritual practices that make you feel comfortable and keep the food, it's like, okay, well, I did a spiritual practice. I don't have to face anything I'm afraid of today. How effective is that? If you can only meditate while you're on the cushion, if you're sitting on the cushion and you, oh my God, I am an enlightened being who's full of love and full of energy. And then you get off the cushion and you're angry and you bark at the first person that's there, or you get out in traffic and you feel it, all the anger rising. How strong is it? And these were the questions that I asked myself when I started. It's like I would meditate and all this anger would come up and I'm like, what do I do with this? Where do I put it? And I kept looking for things. And when I found hypnosis, it helped me a little bit, but it still was all there. But then when I started in Tibetan Bond, it's like, well, we know what that is because we look at, well, what's the source of the anger? And then what balances that, or what will diminish that, or what will help you use that for a better end? We work constantly to tame our minds. So when I post these things for the daily thing, it's to let people be aware that these are the energies at work, elementally, astrologically, and so maybe today's not the best day to ask for a loan. Maybe later this week when it's about, business, maybe that's a better day to ask for a loan. Or maybe it's not a good day to plant on a bad moon phase. Maybe wait until later in the day when the energies change. So usually when it's a bad moon phase, it's for one half of the day. So I just wanted to say those things. I hope that makes more sense about, the daily posts that I put about the astrological energies. And we look at a lot. We look at what's the enemy, what's the animal of the year, what's the animal of the month, what's the animal of the day? Are they compatible? Do they fight with each other? What are the elemental energies? Are they compatible? Do they fight with each other? And there's a lot going on right now that is kind of in chaos and kind of working against people. And it's kind of trying to grind them. It's trying to force them into being diamonds. So I think this is probably the best way I'm going to say it. If people aren't willing to become a diamond, then you're going to find yourself facing all the pressure in the world that's going to turn you into a diamond. So you're a lump of coal. And if you don't decide to take hold of your fashioning yourself into a diamond, and this is the way we look at it, and I'm just a student still, by the way. This is just from my experience as a student. If you're not willing to take hold of, fashioning yourself into a diamond, what's going to happen is all the conditions in the world are going to press down on you and create pressure until you become a diamond. And finally, if it's so hard that, you may break at some point just until you finally give up and go, all right, how do I become a diamond? So I hope this makes sense. I hope I've expressed it clearly. Please put any questions that you have in the thing below, and I'd be happy to answer them. For those of you who want to get a reading from me or get your chart done or see what your reason for being here is, contact me 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. I'm actually going to put my new website. I got a new website, and I actually do daily posts there. Just you subscribe to the free thing, you can see my daily blog posts, that are the daily things. I'm trying to move away from Facebook and Instagram because, and even YouTube, they're censoring people. And if I start to talk about what's really going on, I'm likely to lose my account. So I'm on another platform now where I have more freedom to be honest, which is kind of a weird thing to say at this point, but that's where we're at. So put the questions, any questions you got, I'll do my best to answer. If you want to contact me to take a class or to get a reading, contact me. And I hope this makes some sense, and I hope you think about the idea. It's like, does my spiritual practice, when I look at the astrology, do I have a way to negotiate it, or am I just at its mercy? Because I think that's one of the things that frustrated me early on when I started down this path. It's like, okay, well, I see what's coming, but can I change it? And that's really the trick. I'm Lucky Links, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do.